around to thinking about this question. And so what I wanted to do was talk a little bit about kind of demographically and in the macro sense, what are the things that we need to do to ensure, or the things that we need to be aware of in terms of demographic change to be able to really prepare for becoming a knowledge capital. And the two things when I was thinking about this, and why this is important for this question is really that, we want to develop ourselves in terms of looking at, developing economies of scale, looking at spillovers, knowledge spillovers, and so on. We really need to prepare ourselves to build a proper urban India, which right now we have a really crumbling and dysfunctional urban India, and that's something that we really need to change on the agenda to really set forth. We'll bring up some slides on this, but we really are costing ourselves in terms of growth because we have a huge kind of set of educated women that aren't part of the labor force. And so really importantly in terms of talent allocation, we are missing out, and it's something that has a huge impact on GDP. So if we could figure out ways of being able to, again, be inclusive and include more people into the workforce, that would be huge for one of the biggest demographic challenges we have, which is employability. On kind of the estimates that people talk about, conservative estimates say that about 380 million people will be added to India's urban spaces over the next 45 years, and that number is even larger than the entire population of the U.S. today. So if that is the case, and that's a pretty conservative number, we really need to prepare and build our cities to be able to cope with that change pattern. And what you find is that the top 20 cities alone, although they make up less than 10% of India's population, they generate more than 30% of India's income. But what's even more interesting, again, this chart is hard to read, so I'll just explain it. What's even more interesting is that a lot of the growth is taking place outside of the big 8 cities. So what you're seeing is that the Tier 2 and the Tier 3 cities are really the ones that have been driving growth over the last 5 years. The fastest growing city in this chart is Surat, followed by Nagpur, and you'll see Jaipur and all these cities. And as you go further down, you also see a lot of changes happening. So contrary to what people think, a lot of the growth that's taking place is in these smaller cities, as well as cities that have the highest kind of penetration rates of things like, that we look at as proxies for, for development. So, things that have to do with consumer durables, financial services.